Oh, don't mind me, I'm just making room for Ed Bolian's car. So that's when Ed said, I'd really love it if you just delete the video. For those of you new to the channel, I'm Anton, a power engineer, industrial mechanic, and a Red Seal electrician. We cover all kinds of products and topics in an approachable way for the average everyday person. I'm glad you found us. So our story actually begins a couple of years ago, and I've always been really caught up in the question of can lightning strike in the same place twice? And I guess that kind of drives my obsession for just kind of being in places where greatness has already been. It means I'm always kind of there a little bit too late. Like, for example, a few years ago, I went to Montreal, Canada, and didn't realize that it was the week after the F1 weekend, because at the time I wasn't really a F1 fan. I am now. So that's a relief to all of you car people who are like, holy crap, how can you like be a car guy but not like F1? Well, okay, don't worry. I've watched all the Drive to Survives. I'm an F1 fan now, but I wasn't then. So as I'm climbing all of these bleachers that just look out seamlessly into nowhere, it was dark out, it was middle of the night. It wasn't until I got back home and started watching F1 and found out, holy crap, I was there just a week too late. But let me get back to Ed. You see, a few years ago, I was in Ed's hometown. I was right close by for my regular day job. And at the time, I thought YouTubers were like us. They're just everyday regular people who just love hanging out, meeting new people, and saying hi. So while I was in the area, I thought, why not send Ed a message and say, hey Ed, it'd be really cool. Like, you know, I'm a YouTuber, I'm trying to do this whole YouTube thing. You've obviously had a ton of success with YouTube. Why don't we meet up? He was just starting out with his Car Stories format, which I actually had a Car Stories format as well that was a little bit different, not quite the same thing. He didn't copy me. I don't think I copied him. Since then, I have kind of diverged from there, and my focus is a lot more in the technology space and the automotive technology space. But I still have a soft spot in my heart for automotive content. And so I kind of keep tabs on some of my favorite automotive YouTubers. So it should be no surprise that from the recent Car Trek trip, Ed Bolian is selling his Bugatti TT car. Now I've seen this car and I actually thought, hey, you know what? I've always wanted an Audi TT. I should look at buying one similar to what he had. So I've kind of been looking around in my market for an Audi TT, and surprise, surprise, one day I log into my Instagram and there's a post from Ed saying, hey, if you loved my car, it's actually for sale on Cars and Bids. That got me really wondering, could I buy Ed Bolian's car from Car Trek, and would I be able to make enough content to cover the cost of buying his car? Now, it is currently for sale on Cars and Bids. So I mean, now's the time, but does anyone really want a flood damaged car? And is it any good? So I don't know, there's so many questions to that, and I've got to get to the bottom of this, and I'm going to. By the end of this video, I will have gotten to the bottom of, number one, can I buy his car? Number two, should I buy his car? That's always the question you gotta ask. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something.
Yeah, but your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should.
And I always apply, I call it the Jurassic Park test, because just because you can breed dinosaurs, maybe you shouldn't breed dinosaurs. Now, obviously, Universal has something else to say about that, because they've been breeding dinosaurs for many generations now, and people still go to the box office to check out the dinosaurs. I'm one of them. Not a dinosaur. I'm not a dinosaur. I'm one of the people that go to watch the dinosaur. Back to my Ed Bolian story. So he never did answer me. He did not respond back to me, and I just continued to kind of stalk him through that trip a little bit. I did make a video about it, so I'm not, you know, it wasn't clickbait at the beginning of this video. I did make a video of me going to see if I could meet up with Ed Bolian. I got a little close to the sun, and I have to say, Ed Bolian is a very stand-up guy. He did reach out to me after the fact, long after I was long gone, and after my video came out, and he said, hey, saw the video, thanks for, you know, the love and support and whatever. forever, as any, superstar would say, followed soon after by, as you might imagine, I'd really appreciate if you take that video down because it's not very flattering. So I did. I did take the video down, and I have to say huge props to Ed for being such a stand-up guy. I mean, now that I'm like also hyper famous and a huge big YouTuber, I can understand how he was feeling more, and I don't think I would have responded in the same way. So big props to Ed Bolian for being so respectful, even though it maybe wasn't deserved, which leads me to where I'm at now. I'm looking at this car and I'm really looking for a reason not to do it, but let's figure out if it's a viable option. Obviously, our search begins by going to cars and bids, and lucky for pretty much the whole world and not me, as soon as we get on, we find that all of Ed's collection is a featured collection on Cars and Bids. So here's our Bugatti TT. I mean, obviously it's been customized by Hoovie. If you haven't seen the Car Trek video, you can watch it if you like. I'm not gonna tell you to watch it or don't watch it. But we can see that the car is currently at a $4,000 high bid. We can see there's 11 bidders, and Ed Bolian is the seller. Hey, I can contact him. I wonder if he wants me to reach out to him again. Probably not. I'm gonna guess no. 16,000 people have looked at it, 437 are watching this auction, and it's currently being bid by Mac Buxton. Looks like he's bid on a lot of cars over the years. So I don't know what Mac is gonna do with this car. I know what I would do with it. I think it all gets summed up in Ed's words himself, where he says that he has the worst examples of the coolest cars. And this one is no exception. This is a really great example of a bad example of a great car. So I would love to buy this car. Now, first question I have is, I live in Canada. Can I buy a salvaged car and import it into Canada and register it? And this is where our first roadblock comes in. You see, we have some really good import rules in Canada here. In fact, I had a Skyline R32 10 years before it was actually allowed to be imported into the United States, because we have a 15-year importation rule. What that means for me now is this 2002 Bugatti would actually fit into the 15-year import rule. So there's different rules for importing cars into Canada from the United States or any other country. Those rules are really, really strict until the car gets 15 years old. At that point, you can pretty much bring in any car you like from any country you like, as long as it can do one simple task. Now, that simple task is not so simple. We have what's called an out-of-province inspection. And an out-of-province inspection, I'll save you guys the hassle of trying to look up what that means, but it means that any car that you bring into the province that you live in must meet specific safety guidelines and meet specific mechanical expectations. The easiest way to tell what would pass an out-of-province inspection, what would not pass an out-of-province inspection, is quite simply, if the car is still practically brand new, it'll pass. If it's not practically brand new, you likely will not pass. Now, if we have a quick look through the pictures of this car, I notice a lot of stickers, I notice some body modifications, I noticed some loose mesh on the front. I noticed it's a reasonably good looking car, but anything that should work has to work. The brakes need to be good, tires need to be in good shape, the muffler system and exhaust needs to be in good shape, suspension especially, steering. If anything is leaking, weeping, loose, or otherwise in bad repair, causing a concern for the safety of the public, it needs to be fixed before you can pass an out-of-province inspection. Now, the way a lot of people get around this is, and that is the way that you get around that out-of-province inspection. If you don't have a way to do that, then you have to follow the proper way. Now, I always follow the proper way. All of the cars that I've imported, I've always made sure were legit and fully compliant. To bring Ed's car up to compliance in Canada would be costly, significantly costly. So that's first hurdle number one. Hurdle number two is this car is all the way down close to Atlanta, Georgia. Now that's not a big problem, except that I'm all the way over in Alberta, Canada. Now the drive from Ed's house to my house is about 36 hours. That's 36 straight hours driving. Now this ain't no cannonball run, but I'm not interested in doing 36 straight hours of driving, and I'm not totally confident that the car would make it that far. So the second question is, how exactly do I get the car from Ed's house to my house? Easiest answer is shipping. The shipping cost to ship a car from Ed's house to my house is somewhere between $2,500 and $3,000. It's not cheap, especially when you consider that the car is currently at about $4,000. So I can easily add $4,000 to the price for shipping. Plus I have to pay GST, that's Canada tax when it comes across the border. So I'm looking at roughly $5,000 for all the importation and shipping fees on an old broken Audi TT. So this is starting to not make any sense at all financially. Luckily for me, I am also a famous YouTuber who makes money by making content. So I could write off this purchase as an investment for the channel and hope that I get that money back. More on that in a minute. Now the third question I have to ask myself is what I started with. Can lightning truly strike in the same place twice? And the theory here is Ed touched this car. Ed bestowed value and interest on this car simply by existing in and around and near the car. Luckily for me, Ed also made a YouTube series dedicated to all of his silly antics with the car, so it's somewhat of a celebrity. Now currently the average views of the most recent car trek that the Bugatti TT was featured in is somewhere around 700,000 to 1 million views per episode that aired. So there's definitely a lot of you guys who have seen this car. That makes me think that there might be interest in, what happened to the car after the show, after it was all done. And I have further evidence to back that up. You see, a number of years ago, there was a different YouTuber who purchased, I want to say, I'm going to get my facts wrong. You can fact check me on this, but I believe it was Hoovie's car from one of these car treks. He bought the car, but Tyler knew him personally and said, hey, we're gonna be done with this car, do you wanna buy it? The story, as I recall it, was that this dude bought the car, it was like $4,000 or $5,000, and he was in a similar situation to myself where, he was trying to make things go with his YouTube channel, wasn't really getting anywhere, so he got the car before the episode airs. He was able to make a bunch of content, and as soon as that episode aired, he started releasing content right after saying, check out Hoovie's car, check out what we did with the car trek car. And he was able to leverage and leapfrog his channel by having Hoovie's car. Now the question I ask is, could the same thing happen here? And I think the answer is yes. I really do think the answer is yes. But there's so many other challenges, just the cost, the logistics of bringing it up, and all of that. Plus, I don't even know where the ceiling is. The auction hasn't closed yet. So we'll wait for the auction to close before we decide for sure. Now, by the time you guys see this video, I will know if the auction's closed. I don't have a future telling machine. I can tell you after the auction closes, which will be a quick blip for you guys.
One day later.
Now, obviously the auction ended and we decided not to buy the car. And there's a number of reasons for that, mostly monetary. Like, it's just so expensive to get that car. Traditionally, my videos have not done that well when I look at, following a format that's already been done. I find the best success by just following my own format and doing my own thing and see where it goes, which is what I'm doing here. In fact, the keen observer will know I was able to make a whole video about Ed Bolian's car without actually buying Ed Bolian's car. Now, that's not a bait and switch. I would love his car, and I would still love a chance to meet up and talk shop with Ed and just pick his brain on what he's done and how to harness that lightning in that bottle, see if it strikes in the same place twice, and maybe allow other channels to have the same kind of massive success like Ed has been enjoying for quite a few years now. Now, if you like this kind of content, I would love to make more of this kind of content because it's fun for me. I love doing fun stuff with cars. In fact, we've done our own car trek style, Top Gear style road trips on this channel. I've been doing them for 10 years or more. It's actually more like 14 years was the first one we put out. If you don't believe me, check all the way back to my oldest video, and then you're gonna be like, but that wasn't 14 years ago, that was like 5 years ago. And that's when I'm gonna tell you that my original YouTube channel from 15 years ago has that same video on it, but I lost access to that channel, so I re-uploaded it to this channel. And now you can go back and look up that $500 car challenge where long-haired Anton had an MR2 that we did a really, really fun road trip on. And Ed, I'd still love a chance to sit down in your chair and have some real car stories and meet up and talk shop. So if you're watching this video, probably not, but if you are, hey, reach out, you know how to get a hold of me. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.